Hey, it's Stu, and this is going to be a long form book haul slash book ramble video. It was the day of the 2 free books at the Friends of the Library, and oh my gosh, I just love the time that I spend at the local Friends of the Library bookshop. I enjoy discussing books with the volunteers. I like trading books with folks there. And now even some patrons and I are crossing paths and just getting to know each other's book tastes and discussing reading. And it's the thing that I most look forward to in a week. Last week I was really able to curb myself. This week, not so much. And I'm working on it. And also, please, if you're not using your Friends of the Library, please do. The Friends of the Library, the local one that I use, although there are several like surrounding area ones that I visit, their yearly book sales and stuff, the books are donated. So if you want to donate books, it's such a great place to donate. They usually run the library's events and activities and workshops. It's just, you're going to find great books there. You're going to find great books there in decent condition for good prices, okay? And all of this, I haven't read any of it. And I understand people are like out here surveilling about overconsumption, and overconsumption's real. We should be criticizing and self-reflecting ourselves, not surveilling others on how much we're consuming. All of these are Little Free Library traded, because I unhaul 100% into Little Free Libraries or the Friends of the Library or to friends, or Friends of the Library or thrift store purchases. And as I'm really kind of spending too much time at my local Friends of the Library, they're majority Friends of the Library stuff. So I had a fantastic time today. I talked about a lot of the books that I'm going to show you with others today, and I'm excited to have these books on my shelves. I'm generally looking forward to reading these books, and there are sometimes some hauls that I've decided it's okay, I might not get to reading the book, but I'd like to have it on my shelf, and if I don't do that too often, that's okay. I also like to have beautiful shelves, right? And what that says about me is this is like the back wall in a hallway. People don't come to my house. This is not performance, although, if you're going to perform being a reader, of all of the things perform being, I'm for it, man. I'm for it. Perform it and then maybe read some too, because I'm really for reading. The first book that I hauled was this Franz Kafka's bilingual edition, A Letter to His Father, and then it's also in German. I have so much joy to have found this book. I stayed for a while in Prague and became a bit of a Kafka enthusiast before Prague was really opening up to where it is. I went there 2 years ago now, and it was amazed how much more just it's been marked by present day capitalism, and definitely there was a lot of hyping up Kafka. On my trip to Prague, someone that I traveled with had this book, Kafka's America. And this book is actually from their high school library. I think they never returned it. And it has one of these little checkout. And the last time it was checked out was January 2002. Inside it was as far as I ever got in this book for some reason. And my plane ticket, which is all worn off. And I know that this plane ticket and baggage check is from 2007. So this Kafka, The Letter to His Father, reminded me that I have this Kafka. It is in fact the oldest book on my shelf. My classic shelves are much smaller. I have like a little shadow box situation over there, but it's reminded me that I think this summer is a really great time to read maybe both of these Kafkas, but read this one, as it has been since 2007 that I started it. Probably really enjoyed it, got distracted. I had a baby then, a very young child, and then wasn't able to finish. So this I got today for $1, I believe, and it is serving as a great joy that maybe I could learn German one day, and also to read the Kafka that I do have. I got The Sellout by Paul Beatty, and it is the winner of the Booker Prize 2016. So this, I was doing a lot of Bookers this year. Sorry, it was last year because it was 2025. And I read in his author's bio that he's the first American, according to this author bio, to win the Booker. It was then called the Man Booker. It's now just called the Booker in 2016. Can that be right? I'm super excited for this book. I'm willing to admit that I probably won't get to this book until Booker season 2026, and I'm okay with that. However, I think this coming month of February could also be a great time to get to this book. It's just, I kind of already have reading plans that could be changed, but that might not allow for it. But I found this, I thought this was a stellar find. Palm Meridian by Grace Flahive. I actually passed this book up when I hauled quite a few. This was in a donation stack that I basically took everything. The most recent book that I read and did a review on was Blood Drenched Beard, was in that particular stack. But as were other books, and I decided to kind of pass this up. It gave a little, I wasn't sure, it gave romance vibes. And I'm pretty sure it's sapphic romance, and then this time I decided to spend a little bit more time, you know, reading the back and reading the front and trying to decide if, yeah, it's sort of like futuristic sapphic romance, giving a vibe that of like, it kind of reminds me of Red Car, which didn't get great reviews, but I loved Red Car. So I decided to go ahead and give this a shot. This also feels like another great summer read. So that's kind of where I'm predicting that I'm going to read this book. Next, I got The Committed by Viet Thanh Nguyen. I saw Viet Thanh Nguyen in New York at a conference in 2025 in May. Yeah, late May. While at that conference, I got this book. This is actually one of the only new books on my shelf, because I saw him speak, and then there was a bookseller, and I also got a few other books that I got to give away, like Revolutionary Mothering. This year I'm exploring series, duologies. Like, yes, I said one too many times that I'm not a series reader, and then thought, what am I talking about? Why am I saying these things about myself? How about I prove to myself if I am or am not? So in the month of January, I actually started several series, 3. A 4th or 5th might be ensuing. So I think, you know, why not keep this rolling? I don't see myself, okay, I think my plan, even though it's a Pulitzer reader and I could read this during Pulitzer, I have had this long enough, since May. So I think May would be also a great month, as it's Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, to kick this off and then maybe pull this off into summer reading. They look beautiful together as well. Speaking of series, this one was super hyped by the volunteer, and I didn't necessarily feel like it was going to be the book for me, but she was really hyping it, really exciting to know, and for some reason thought that I would get to reading it faster than she. The setting is Seattle. I think the premise is it's like apocalyptical through the eyes of, you know, oh man, if you know the city of Seattle, we got some crows, but through the eyes of animals. And it just, I can see why it would be hyped. I want to go ahead and give it a chance. I looked up, it does have quite big font with lots of spacing, and I think if I could actually get outside, if it weren't freezing cold, I could get out into the natural light, I could read this. But in the meantime, the audio and the digital both had quite a long holds from my local libraries, and that's okay. So I put it on hold and know that after I read this, I'm going to owe my review to the volunteers who hyped this up for me. It's number 1 in a series. I don't have any commitment to continue reading the series, but it's worth noting. I also found this War Diary. The font in this is so small, and I fret because there's no digital copy of this available for me in my library, and I wonder why. I think I might request. This is by Eugenia Velasquez, and the translator it's actually translated from the German. I think this is a Ukrainian book, though, about the Ukrainian war. The translator is Greg Neeson, and yeah, the artist and writer Eugenia was a hometown in Kiev, and then yeah, and it is what it is, the War Diaries. I have a friend who will really love this book, so if I can't read it for some reason, I will make sure that this friend gets this book. I thought it was actually really stellar find. I have read a Fiona McFarlane before. It was The Sun Walks Down. Oh, you know where I got that? It was in the 10 books for $5 at the St. Vincent de Paul in a neighboring city. But this cover called to me, and I just finished an Australian author. So I thought, my books need an Australian author to take place. So this is The Night Guest by Fiona McFarlane. I liked the other book that I read by her, The Sun Walks Down. I don't think I loved it, but I remember liking it. And I think this is mystery thriller. So I have read a couple of mystery thrillers, and I have a couple queued up. So I do have a little space on the shelf. This one was a give. I was really floundering and didn't know if I wanted it. And then they said, well, you're getting so many, and it might even be a publication date that they're not selling right now. I can't see the publication dates in this lighting and in this font, but Maeve Binchy is, the name of this book is Quintons, and I think this is literary romance, which you all know how I feel about romance. It's a stretch for me, but this is an Irish author. I don't need to over fetishize Irish authors, but they tend to deliver, and I think that there's some collective agreement on that, and I think there are real reasons why. It's the support for writing and writership and the mentorship and the endowments and the writers' workshops, etc., that are happening in Ireland and have happened in Ireland. So I think that's not by mistake that there's a lot of love for Irish authors. I have the same. They tend to deliver, even if I don't like the book. I can respect the craft and the prose. So I haven't given this author a try before. She has several books, many books. So I thought, why not, give this one a try, especially since I acquired it for free. Speaking of Irish authors, I do want to mention the Queen. I could call her a queen. I've yet to read it, Anna O'Brien. I am sad and ashamed of myself for said thing. But look at this beautiful, beautiful cover. And I think this is the year now. Look at this. This says read me in the fall. And so that's probably when I'm going to read this one. I have another Edna O'Brien on my shelf, and it should be somewhere here because my O's are here. That's Joyce Carol Oates, which I'm going to talk about soon, next. But Edna O'Brien should be around here somewhere. This again is all the intention to get to her. Sometimes if I have more than one book of an author, I feel even more pressure to get to the author. And I do want to be a little bit careful not acquiring many books by a single author that I haven't tried yet, because I like to give at least a 2-book try. I think that's reasonable for me to give a couple of books a try, even if I didn't really like the first book of the author. But then after that, I might not want it. That being said, I unhaul to friends and our little free library. So if I get, you know, one more of an author that I'm not jiving with, it's okay. I'll just unhaul. I'll just know that that's an easy unhaul without reading. I can't say that I'm going to do that about a queen like Edna O'Brien, but I do need to give her a chance. Speaking of queens and speaking of Joyce Carol Oates, yes, they had a fox. And I don't know if this is true or not, or if I'm conflating a memory or making this up, but I think what I recall is that Joyce Carol Oates had an interview, because this is dark academia, and the interviewer was like, so, what do you feel about your work of dark academia? And she's like, what? And I just really appreciate this. I mean, the queen, a queen of American literature. This is a winner of the National Book Award, so that's probably when I'm going to read it. We're talking about next fall, and that's okay. I have more books that I can read in a year, and I think that's also okay. That doesn't stress me out in any way. If you want full shelves, you're not going to read them in a year, unless you keep your books, and I don't. I'm excited. I'm excited about this book. I really am, and I'm super happy that I found it at the Friends of the Library. It was actually one of my free books, because I get 2 free books, and this was one of them. And I couldn't be more excited. And since I'm naming queens of American literature, I really, really just want to say Louise Erdrich is a queen of American literature. And because I've just finished The Only Good Indians, and in the author's note, Stephen Graham Jones was, of course, giving all the props to the queen, Louise Erdrich. I didn't haul Louise Erdrich today, but she's like almost 100% haul for me. I do have a collection that I'm not getting to as fast as I would like, and that is a collection that I do. I put it, it's in my front room, and when people come to my house, which isn't often, I'm like, look, I read this author. You should look at this author's books, and you too should read this author. That's how I feel about my, not performativism, but my presentation and my exhibition, because it really is, it's an exhibit of Louise Erdrich. Joyce Carol Oates is back here. She's tucked back here. She's around here. Yeah, there I can see Cardiff by the Sea, I think, and The Babysitter. So we gotta make room, and I'm gonna figure that out after this video. This Jim Crace, besides being a National Book Critics Circle Award winner, I was just really compelled to this book. This is an English author. I just finished Old Dirt, so English authors have kind of been on my mind. He's living in Birmingham now, but I think he's from Hertfordshire. I digress. This had just the kind of also fall vibes. I feel like this is going to be read in the fall with this, like, in the same reading time of In the Forest. And I don't need to be planning all the way ahead for fall reading, but that's what I felt. It has these nice deckled edges. This book really called to me, and I know I will read it, and I'm saying now, like, so many months that I won't even remember the haul that it came from. But I wonder now how much I'm going to like this book. The publication date was 2013. Lord Jim at Home by Deanna Brooke. Look at this beautiful cover. Odesha Mosveg wrote the foreword, because this is one of those reprints of books that maybe were understood and read by people who wanted and needed this kind of book, this kind of female character, and then needed to be called back up. And I so appreciate these publishing houses that are republishing classics or rebringing out books, especially of these marginalized authors that just didn't get a fair go in the reading space. And as we have readers now who are reading folks like Odessa Moshfagh, she's like, okay, then, like, here you go. Here's your chance to read this Diana Brooke book. And just look at that. Like, I was going to use boy parts for the 52 book club book face, and I am, because 50 for book face for the 52 book club's prompt book face. I don't know, it's one of the earlier prompts. But I now feel so compelled to use this instead. I'm pretty backed up in my plans, or at least my potential plans for February. So this feels like a March read, but this feels like probably the most recent read, like going to be the one that closest of all of these books that I got. It feels like this is the one that's going to be read soonest, and that isn't for a few months. And I feel like I have to put this book on display. I love the cover of this book so much, and the vibes that this book gives me, and I feel incredibly compelled to read it. Speaking of fantastic and amazing finds, this is a Roberto Bolaño, and this is a novella, and Roberto Bolaño writes like honkers. So much so that if I found a honker, I might be like, how much room do I have on my shelf? Because I'm just not reading honkers. I keep saying that. Maybe 2027, because 2026 is my year to stop saying I don't read series without really having made sure, like without having reliable evidence that that's true. So maybe by 2027, it's just going to be my year of honkers. I'm just going to say I love reading big books and read a bunch of big books. And instead of reading several books in a week, just read one book, you know, or 5 books a month instead of 5 books a week. I'm cool with that. I am so cool with that. Maybe I'll haul less. Maybe I won't. This doesn't exist as a digital copy at my library. So this is probably going to be a summer read because it's a nice, extremely light, extremely little paperback. Who is the translator? Let's see. Because, yeah, Chris Andrews is the translator of By Night in Chile. If I travel, I don't see myself doing it, but if I get to travel to Mexico or Central or South America this year, I will build my Spanish language collection, and I would very much like to have some of these books in both Spanish and English. I do have a small Spanish language collection. I'm not reading in Spanish right now for whatever reason. I do some buddy reading stuff in Spanish, but I'm not like putting Spanish language books onto my reading TBRs. I would just love to have this book as well in Spanish. That's all I have to say. This is Picador. By the way, that's the publishing house. Look at this fantastic book. Also kind of makes me want for it to be on display. And that's all I have to say about this book haul. Wow. Like, wow. Please go to your friends of the library. Like, this is an incredible book haul. And for folks that say they can't find good books or that they have to buy good books, new, or they feel compelled to overconsume new books, there are plenty of used books that still need love, still need to be read and loved and recirculated. So please, I'm a fan, and I'm a promoter of said thing, and there's a lot of good books out there. So I can't be over here hearing that good literature is dead or reading is dead. No. Reading is very much alive, and I encourage you to do it at whatever level and with whatever zest and with whatever joy it brings you. And maybe the performance helps you do the actual act, but also maybe just do it and just get all of the rewards that reading can be. And if this replaces knickknacks or clutter, then also so be it. Till next time, this is me signing off and gonna go read none of these books, the book that I'm in the middle of right now, and so that I can work on a book review video coming up next.